Hello and welcome to the Garden Warrior podcast with the Garden Warrior himself, Paul Davies. I'll be joining Paul every week with a new guest from the horticultural world as we talk the science, the theory and the practical ways to approach your garden. Known for his fun and can-do manner, Paul's one of the UK's most fun celebrity gardeners, showing you behind the scenes of his day-to-day business, punctuated by his funny stories and anecdotes, often with insights never before seen. Hello, Paul.
Good afternoon, Alison.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
This is your first podcast.
It is my first podcast.
This is the debut.
The debut of the Garden Warrior.
Very, very good. So you recently been on television on Channel 5 with Jeremy Vine.
Yes, Jeremy Vine talking topiary.
Okay.
On Channel 5.
How did that go?
Went really well, thank you.
What did you do?
So I was in a customer's lovely garden in a place called Polstead in Suffolk on the borders of Essex.
Right.
And Jeremy had asked me to come on his show to show him how to do some topiary.
Very nice. And I understand the question was tacky or trendy?
Tacky or trendy, that's what they sold me.
And what do you think?
I think it's very trendy.
Do you?
Yes, why not? I mean, but I think if you've got topiary in your garden, it's a very personal thing, topiary, but going back through centuries, topiaries in British history going right back to way beyond Henry VIII, etc., etc.,
Wow.
and before when the Romans came to here. So topiary's been around for a very long time.
Yeah. Do you think, like, they're quite boring, aren't they, the bushes? The bushes.
What? Why would you say boring?
What's
boring about them?
No, but like topiary's done like usually on specific kinds of bush, right?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. But
So
it can be done. No, it can be done on any bush, right? So don't think that topiary is just in a stately home looking like a peacock.
Right.
So topiary.
But even the balls, right?
Yeah, the balls are.
Aren't they usually with buxus or something?
Yeah, so most of the balls are buxus, but they can be yew, or they could be ligustrum. They could be one of many plants.
Okay.
It could be holly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't just have to be, because I was going to go with the theory of maybe topiary started because the plants look quite boring and they're trying to make it look interesting.
No, I think, going back to Tudor days, they were trying to make things interesting, and it all came from France originally with the parterre, which is like a French garden around a chateau or something.
Oh, nice.
So it was all comes from that sort of period, and it's materialised back. Capability Brown came and changed all the landscape because they took all the topiary out and made lovely big lakes and vistas. So it's been up and down for hundreds of years.
Oh,
but
wow.
when he said tacky or trendy, I thought, wow, that's a bit of a statement. Of course it's trendy.
And I think actually they started off maybe thinking it was tacky, but I kind of feel that he really got into it.
Yeah, did you see how bad he was?
It was funny though.
It was really funny. I love Jeremy Vine. And he was trying, but I think he was trying a bit too hard because he didn't make a very good job of it. But anyway.
Really. So how did you get into topiary? Because I know you quite enjoy doing that.
So, it's a very good question. I get into topiary. Well, I was working at some very established estates and like in historical buildings, a lot of them have got sort of a topiary theme going on. I know yews have been around, Taxis Carter, which we see in our big parks and estates, and all these lovely old buildings having these yew hedges around. So they started clipping them many years ago, but now it's got a bit more technical where you can have a racing car or a racehorse, or all for these all big events that we do. So
can I ask you about that? So when it's a really like intricate design, say for example, like you mentioned a peacock or it's a racing car or a horse or something, is that literally taken from like the basic shape of the bush, or is there like secret techniques?
No, there's secret techniques. No, they don't sketch it. They make it out of wire. So they make a racing car out of wire into the shape of a racing car, and then they grow something called ligistrums, which is what they use. It looks a bit like box, but it's not. And that's what they tie in, and then over a few years they get it to grow right through to the shape. So you can have a shape of anything you like in the world.
Right, nice, okay. Yeah. So I know that you'd said before there's been like a bit of a problem with buxus for a while, some kind of blight or something. What's that about?
Buxus blight's been a bit of a pain for several years, especially in the south. I think it's moved up north as well. So it's like an infection that the plant gets in, the bacteria, and then it gets in, and it's like basically it goes right through the plant, and it starts off the top of the plant, starts with a few brown leaves, and it goes through the plant and literally kills the plant.
Oh, wow.
So Monty Don had it in his garden, and he tried to get rid of it, but he couldn't, so he ended up ripping them out. So there's not many ways you can get rid of it. You can spray it with different chemicals trying to sort of suppress it, but there is something called top buxus. If you go online, you can find top buxus, and that's basically...
How are you spelling that? Do you know how to spell that?
Top buxus, yeah, Buxus.
Okay.
So
what about an alternative? Is there something alternative you can use for the similar look?
Not really, because it's something that gets into the plant, and it's usually in an area that's dry. It doesn't have a good flow of air, not always, but that's where it normally comes from. And since then we've now got the box caterpillar, which is absolutely nightmare. European, that's been ripping through several of my clients' gardens. It's come in probably in the last 2 or 3 years. It's starting to spread over the country, and that's even worse than blight, because the moth is a very tiny moth, and it lays its eggs, and then when the caterpillars hatch out, they pretty much eat every leaf on the bush.
So is there anything you can do to stop that?
Not really.
Are the moths too small to see?
Yeah, they're really tiny, like size less than your fingernail. So, yeah, so you can look out for them, and it's always between April, starting now, right through to like late in the summer. So they're about. So you can look out for them. If you can see them, you pick them out.
Yeah.
Or spray your bushes with something. You can use, again, certain chemicals, but I mean a lot of people are environmentally against that, but it's very difficult. So just look out for them. If you see the moths, pick them off.
Right.
They're very small. They've got very bland brown wings, so they're not very exciting things, but they can do a lot of damage.
Oh wow, okay, that's a really good tip. Do you have any kind of stories, like anywhere that you'd kind of been involved in topiary, or any clients' gardens? I know you've had some brilliant, but also some crazy situations with clients over the years, as you've been like working your way up for the last 30 years. I wonder if there's anything there.
Well, there's a beautiful one outside the Tottenham Hotspur training ground, which is like Tottenham's like #1 plant. As you go drive in, it's a cockerel and a ball, and as they're in the cup final stage, talk about Tottenham. So they've got one that they've grown, and the glistrum again on the ball and the cockerel, the same as it is on the stadium.
Oh, really
so
nice.
That's really nice. Someone can drive through there if you're going through Enfield in North London, and you swing by up to Cruise Hill where all the garden centres are. You see outside Spurs, they've got it right on the entrance. So that's something really interesting that people might be like, yeah.
And one thing that I've seen that you'd said, I think is on your Instagram, your Garden Warrior Instagram, or maybe it was your Twitter account, about the fact that we are nearly in May. And we still have quite a lot of frost in the morning. And you like mentioned Cruise Hill, but just being in and out of different garden centres and suppliers, the amount of people buying bedding plants. And I know you had a little tip about that, and I wondered if you just might like to share that again. Okay,
so yeah, I mean, if you're going to buy summer bedding, they really can't take any frost at all. None of them really. So if you're going to go out this next week, and most people have been buying them, they're in for about a month now. A lot of the garden centres don't tell you they've got to be taken at night or covered with a fleece or something the night to protect them from the frost, because we've had frost every night for the last week and a half. So I actually did put some in my client's garden, told them to cover up, but she forgot.
Oh, no.
So when I got there, they was all dead. So
what do you cover them up with?
You can cover them up with a bag, like a dustbin bag, just to protect them from the frost. But if it's really cold, it might go through that. So get some hessian or some bubble wrap or anything like that you can cover. And there is horticultural fleece that you can buy in the garden centres. Just cover them over. If you see the nurseries, they usually have them over their bedding plants, and at night they pull them all over just to protect them. So yeah, so it really is important that normally by May we're sort of like getting rid of the frost, but I mean up north it can go right to the end of May. So don't plant your bedding plants out too early, right? Because you might lose them all.
Okay, it's really cool. So I know you do post quite a lot on your Garden Warrior, the Garden Warrior, on YouTube and Instagram. I think you've got a couple more TV appearances coming up. Is there anything you can tell us about those yet?
Not really. Jeremy Bryan, his production team, got in contact with me to say they want me back on. Right. So that's probably going to be happening in the next month or so. Okay. We've got other things. We're doing some filming in 2 weeks with a proper film crew. So we're going to do some stuff on. I can't really say too much at the moment.
Okay. Okay, that's really cool. So people can find you on Instagram, YouTube. You're Paul Davis, the Garden Warrior on Facebook.
And my company is City Landscape Master Gardeners.
Okay,
I run with my son Ben.
You're easy to find.
Easy to find.
Very
Just Google Paul Davis.
Yep.
Or the Garden Warrior.
Sounds really, really
or
cool.
Or Topiary at Jeremy Vine, and you'll see my 8.5 minutes stint with Jeremy.
I think Jeremy made it look more difficult than it was, because actually you'd shown him quite clearly how to create the kind of loop around the spiral and how to clip into it. But it's not difficult, is it? I suppose people are afraid they're going to get it wrong.
Yeah, I don't think Jeremy is a natural gardener. So he did make it look a bit more difficult than it was. I don't think he was listening to what I was telling him. I think that was the problem. But yeah, I mean, anyone should try it. It's not a real science. It's more of a practice-based thing.
So people are interested, just as we start to wrap up our very first podcast, where would you suggest people begin? To simply buy a simple ball and start clipping in, or the cone? What do you think?
So if you've got a bush in your garden that's quite leafy, you can practice on that bush. Yeah? So you can start to cut from your holly or your yew, or there's loads of plants I can say about telling you all the Latin names, Elaeagnus or something like that. Or you can buy a ball in the Buxus ball, which is Buxus sempervirens in the garden centre. You can pay anything from £9 up to £500 for a Buxus ball, and start clipping. And the tip is, if you've got a circle and you think, oh my God, how am I going to make it round? You clip one side like a cross. Think of a hot cross bun, and you clip it up and over, and then you turn it round 90 degrees, and you clip it there, and you turn it around again. And if you clip it like that, you'll get the perfect ball.
Oh wow! So you kind of go over the top.
Yeah, and back down the other side.
Like cross on a hot cross bun, but you keep going around like that. Oh wow! And in terms of secateurs, I know that you sent them over to the ITN studios for Jeremy to use, and there were not special ones, but there was something that you recommended. Yeah, so that was called sheep shears, but they're clipping shears, and they are like sheep shears where the metal just clips together. You hold them in one hand. There's loads of other stuff you can get now, so you can get ones like scissors, which you can put your fingers through and has a cutting action. So just go down to your garden centre or B&Q or wherever, and you'll find loads of them. So it's just trial and error, really. Okay, so you're a bit of an Edward Scissorhands. I am Edward Scissorhands. I think I was watching my mum in the hairdresser when I was a kid. There you go. Look what she did. Okay, Paul, we're going to wrap up for today. Thank you so much. Garden Warrior is your go-to guide to give you the knowledge and confidence to get to grips with your garden and to simplify the challenges that grow along the way as you're building your dream. Paul, thank you so much. I know that we're coming back next week. You've got some guests that we're going to bring in, RHS people. Yeah, I can't say who they are, but we'll put them online because we are lining up some brilliant guests. Sounds really good. Come back and join us again for episode 2. Thank you, Paul. Cheers, thank you.